Ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back into another edition, the NFL Championship Weekend edition of Key Time Sports. It's Key Time coming back to talk about the NFC and the AFC Championship game this week between the Washington Commanders and the Philadelphia Eagles on the NFC side of things, and the AFC Championship between the Buffalo Bills and the almighty Kansas City Chiefs. Now, let me not waste anybody else's time. Let me get on to the stats and the players and the X factors that will be the determining factor in both of these games this coming weekend. All right, happy Friday, everybody. Hopefully, everybody's having a good morning, no matter where you're looking at America, Germany, New Zealand, Brazil, Germany, Berlin, wherever you are listening to me right now. Hopefully, you are having a great day. Now, the first game I'm going to talk about is the Washington Commanders and the Philadelphia Eagles. Now, we all know that excuse me, we all know that the Washington Commanders are led by Jaden Daniels. Brian Thomas Jr. is the top running back leader top running back. Damani Brown, leading receiver for the Washington Commanders. Jeremy Chin, the leader in tackles, and the leader in interceptions is Mike Sacranti. Now, Washington Commanders, I am going to tell you all how they got here. So, how they got here was they got here off of, let me see, a complete team overhaul of management, ownership within the past last year and a half. Joe Harris brought the team for $7 billion. We all know that. Joe Harris bought the team for $7 billion, right? The first thing that he changed was the environment and the organization. He changed that. So now, when we see where he changed the environment and the organization, you see Jaden Daniels. He comes into the fold, and everybody from last year to this year, he was Ron Rivera. He a good coach, but I believe he just wore out his welcome when it comes to the Washington Commanders. He had been there for 6 years, only had one playoff appearance, and that was a year where the NFC East was terrible. The whole division was terrible. So now we fast forward to here. Jaden Daniels, then you get Terry McLaurin. Terry McLaurin, over the last couple of days, I've been hearing that I heard on TikTok where somebody said that Terry McLaurin was a top 5 receiver. Oh, I beg to differ on that. I mean, you got top 5 receivers. Terry McLaurin is a top 15 receiver. Whoever said that Terry McLaurin was a top 5 receiver, I'm going to rattle off 5 names, and you got to put them in the top 5. Jamar Chase, CeeDee Lamb, Justin Jefferson, uh, sometimes George Pickens, and also those are only 4. So those are the top 4. 5, it's a revolving door at 5. It could be one guy one week and then another guy the next week. Cause basically I was gonna put Debo Samuel at 5, but he has been injured throughout the entirety of the season. So now, back to the Washington Commanders. The Washington Commanders offense is top 10 in the NFL. Their defense is 18th in the NFL, middle of the pack. Middle of the pack. And I'm going to go down who all is on there, who all runs the ball for them, who all leads them in the wide receiver category. We see Terry McLaurin. He had a good game the last 2 weeks versus the Buccaneers and the Lions. So now let's get to that defense. Now the defense is basically middle of the pack in the league, and they really can't stop a flood if you ask them to. I mean, that defense is basically, I'm going to say it like this. I'm going to put it this way for y'all. The Washington Commanders defense is basically a tape up defense. What I mean by a tape up defense is that a tape up defense, if you have a hole in the wall where there's a leak somewhere, they put some tape on it and the leak stops periodically, temporarily. But then when you have another leak, they want to put it on with some more tape and stop that temporarily and periodically. But against a team like the Philadelphia Eagles and the rushing attack that the Philadelphia Eagles have with Saquon Barkley at the helm, is the Washington Commanders going to be able to stop? Is the Washington Commanders going to be able to stop Saquon Barkley? Not to mention, if you stack 7 or 8 in the box, you are leaving your cornerbacks on an island. And Devontae Smith is a guy that can beat you deep. A.J. Brown is a guy that can beat you deep. Dallas Goedert, he is a tight end. He can take a 5-yard pass and turn it into a 25, 30-yard gain. So the Washington Commanders defense, they're going to have a tough time. They are going to have a tough time against the Philadelphia Eagles. Now, I'm going to go back to their regular season stats. We know that the Washington Commanders, they average 28 points per game. Now, during the season, they average 28 points per game. Now, since the playoffs have started, it has increased a little bit. 34 points per game that the Washington Commanders offense has averaged. 25 points given up. But, like I said, when it comes to the Washington Commanders, they are a good national story for the NFL. A team that has been down in the dumps for over the past 25 years has now made it to the NFC Championship game. So we see what the Washington Commanders have on the offense and defensive side of the ball. We see that. Now, let's switch on over to the Philadelphia Eagles. Now, Philadelphia Eagles, they have more playoff experience than the Washington Commanders. We all know that. And they are led by Jalen Hurts, aforementioned Saquon Barkley, Dallas Goedert, Reed Blankenship is their leader in tackles since the postseason has started, and Darius Slay Jr. has 1 interception since the postseason has started. Now, the thing about Jalen Hurts is everybody is saying that he doesn't throw the ball much. If I was the offensive coordinator of the Philadelphia Eagles and I had a bell cow running back averaging over 115 yards a game throughout the regular season, and he had a game where he ran for over 115 yards in the playoffs, I would have said that too. I would say, hey, just get the ball to the running back and just let the running back go. But people in this day and time, I know that people, they are drawn by passing statistics. But then there are some times in a championship game or in a playoff game where you just have to accept the fact that the running game is going to will you to victory today. And I think that Philadelphia, what they need to do is just keep on doing what they do, giving the ball to Saquon Barkley 15 to 20 times, and letting him run the Eagles to the Super Bowl, because at the end of the day, that's what it is going to be. That's where this game is going to come down to. Now, As far as the defensive side of the ball, now defense, we all see where the defense. Reed Blankenship top is one of the top players on the Philadelphia Eagles. Also, Cooper DeJean, he is also one of their top tacklers on defense for the Philadelphia Eagles. Now, from what I see with the Philadelphia Eagles and the Washington Commanders, this game is going to be close. This game is going to be close. But one thing I'm going to say is that the inability to convert on third down and turnovers will hurt whoever loses this game. Now, the Washington Commanders, they have a dominant pass game and they have a okay defense. The Philadelphia Eagles have a okay running game, but don't have a good pass game, but they have an okay defense. See, y'all see what I'm saying right here? You have both mediocre, both teams in the NFC Championship game, they are mediocre at some level. Washington is mediocre on defense, and Philadelphia is mediocre in the passing game. But when it comes to, like I said, home field advantage, you got to give the home field advantage to, you got to give the upper hand to Philadelphia. You do. You have to give the home field, you have to give the upper hand to Philadelphia because they are at home. Now, both of these teams, they've played each other twice this season, with each team winning one matchup. Now we are going to see what all can happen in this game when it comes to, like I said, I'm going to tell you that players, they need to step up for the Washington Commanders outside of Terry McLaurin, because the defense for the Eagles are going to emphasize stopping Terry McLaurin. So Jaden Daniels, he is going to have to go to his second and third option. He is going to have to depend on the running back to get them down the field. That's what he is going to have to do. And for the Philadelphia Eagles, keep doing what you're doing. All you Eagles fans, y'all need to tell y'all offensive coordinator, just give the damn ball to Saquon Barkley and let him go. When you run the ball, if you are the Philadelphia Eagles, when you run the ball, the Commanders, they gonna stack 8-9 in the box. Then that's when you go to your one-on-one matchups with Devontae Smith and A.J. Brown. That's when you go to your one-on-one matchups. But at the end of the day, I'm going to get to my pick and see who has the chance of winning this game. I have a tough time picking against the Eagles at home. I just think that the Cinderella story for the Washington Commanders, I believe that stops in North Philly this weekend. I really do. Plus, you got quite a few players from back in the day coming out. You got Deshaun Jackson probably gonna stop by the link. You got LaShawn McCoy, he gonna stop by the link. You got Michael Vick stopping by the link, trying to see what the Philadelphia Eagles can do in this game. So I picked the Philadelphia Eagles to win this game by a touchdown. I picked it, yeah, that's what it is. That's what it's gonna be. I picked the Philadelphia Eagles to win by a touchdown, and that is all I have for the NFC Championship game. Now for the game that we all been waiting for, the Buffalo Bills and the Kansas City Chiefs. First off, let me get to the Bills. And I just need to tell the Bills congratulations, because at the start of the season, we didn't know if the Bills were going to be able to get this far. We really didn't know. And let me tell you, I'm going to go back to the Buffalo Bills regular season stats. Regular season offensive statistics, excuse me. The Buffalo Bills in the regular season averaged 30 points. Their opponents averaged 3 touchdowns. Now we see where the Buffalo Bills, since the playoffs have started, has averaged the same amount of points. 29 points for the Buffalo Bills since the playoffs have started, and their opponents are only generating 16. Now everybody look at this for a second. Let's just focus on let's just focus on the minutia of this game and the potential. Let's just focus on the minutia of this game and the potential snafu that we might experience in the AFC Championship game. Because we know with the Buffalo Bills and the Kansas City Chiefs, we know what they have done throughout their time in the playoffs. 2020, they played in the AFC Championship. Kansas City won. 2021, AFC Divisional round. That was a entertaining game. Kansas City won in the end. 2023, they played in the AFC Divisional round. Kansas City won that game. And also last year, they won in Buffalo of all places. So what can I say about the Buffalo Bills? The Buffalo Bills, I keep on saying that their championship window is going to close, but it just seems like the Buffalo Bills keep proving me wrong. And I did this game right here. I see where the Las Vegas odds, they are putting the Buffalo Bills as the favorite in this game. Now let me tell everybody something. Las Vegas is doing what they supposed to do. They know that Kansas City is not an underdog at home. But for all of the bettors that see that, this is music to their ears. When they see that the Buffalo Bills are a 1.5 favorite, are favored by 1.5 points, so 2 points, they see where all of the sharp bettors and stuff, they are gonna pick Buffalo. But let me tell you, when you got, and I do mean when you got a quarterback like my homeboy over there in Kansas City, Missouri, he said himself that my team is not an underdog, no matter what the projections and the predictions say. Kansas City to me is not an underdog. And I'm going to show y'all why they are not an underdog. They are not an underdog because we know that Patrick Mahomes, his late game heroics is like no other. His late game heroics is like no other. So I'm going to shift on over to the Kansas City Chiefs, and I am going to tell you that the Kansas City Chiefs have a bunch of X factors in this game. Patrick Mahomes is an X factor because of his legs. Kareem Hunt, he is going to be an X factor because he know how to run. Also, another player that's an X factor. You haven't heard much from him this season. Isaiah Pacheco. Now, Isaiah Pacheco is something else. Isaiah Pacheco, he hasn't had that many touches this season. I expect Isaiah Pacheco to have a good game versus the Buffalo Bills. Now, the Buffalo Bills, they got a good defense. They do. But like I said, any defense can have a bad day. Any defense. Also, one other thing, Xavier Worthy, he is also another X factor. That's 3 X factors that the Buffalo Bills have to have to focus on. Also, another thing, I'm not gonna forget Travis Kelsey. He is uncoverable in the middle of the field. So you got Travis Kelsey, you got Isaiah Pacheco, you got Xavier Worthy to focus on if you are the Buffalo Bills. Not to mention the Kansas City Chiefs defense is also their defense over the past few years has also gotten better. I noticed something when it comes to the Kansas City Chiefs. Ever since they lost the Super Bowl to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, they have been building up that defensive line, building up that offensive line. Now, the offensive line comes in a little bit mucked up. We can see that. Excuse me. The offensive line has come in a little bit mucked up. Also, when you look at the Kansas City Chiefs defense, and I can name a few players just off the rip: Justin Reed, Brian Cook, Nick Bolton, George Kalafis, Jaden Hicks, Chris Jones. Now, Chris Jones is the leader of the defense. Not to mention, I can't forget Trent McDuffie. Now, Trent McDuffie, in games like this, he has shown up in big moments. I don't know how many times that I can reiterate last year in the Super Bowl where on that 3rd down and 4, Trent McDuffie came on a safety blitz and it pretty much threw the process time of Brock Purdy off. And I believe that, like I said, Josh Allen. Josh Allen is not afraid to run the ball, take off and run. Patrick Mahomes is not afraid to run the ball. Now, everybody for the Buffalo Bills, they have 3 wide receivers that the Chiefs have to focus on, and the Chiefs have 3 wide receivers that the Buffalo Bills have to focus on. Now, let's move on to the kicking. Wait a minute. Let's move on to the Kansas City Chiefs offensive statistics throughout the regular season, and let's see, translate to this season, translate to the postseason. So, a lot of games that the Chiefs have played in within the last year and a half, a lot of them have been 1-score games. Throughout the regular season, they averaged 22 points per game. They allowed 19 points per game. So they've been in a lot of games this year. I'm going to say, let's see, 15 games they've won, and I'm going to tell you that 11 of them have been close games. But do you all realize, well, teams that play against the Kansas City Chiefs, it seems like they emphasize so much as far as like not getting behind the chains and not turning the ball over and not getting unnecessary penalties. That's just from the opponent's mental standpoint. But you still got to defend the Kansas City Chiefs. And no team has defended the Kansas City Chiefs this year. No team. Even though the Buffalo Bills were able to win in the regular season versus the Kansas City Chiefs back in week 9. Well, I mean, we expected that. I mean, they in Buffalo. We expected that. But when it comes to the postseason and when it comes to them playoffs, I always tell people that's a different kind of monster. Every play is that much bigger. Every play is valuable in the playoffs, and this game is valuable to both of these players. Now, I keep hearing about legacy about this game. I mean, and I'm going to tell you, I'm going to give y'all a history lesson now because I'm at that time where we get into the most historical stats and historical factors about the NFL. So Josh Allen, He done been in the league for 12 years. He's been knocking on the door for at least 9 years running. Let me tell you. Then you have Patrick Mahomes, who pretty much sat on the bench his first year, came into the fold the second year, and has pretty much willed his team and got his team for the past 7 years in the AFC Championship game. Now, we always have had runner-up quarterbacks. You had them all the time. Jim Kelly, he was a runner-up quarterback. Buffalo Bills fans, I'm sorry that I have to do this to you, but in the 90s, y'all made it to the Super Bowl 4 times and lost 4 straight years. I know that Buffalo Bills fans want to get back to the Super Bowl, but let me tell you something. First, you got to defeat Patrick Mahomes, and I don't think that you're going to be able to defeat Patrick Mahomes. Now, let me shift on over to Patrick Mahomes. Patrick Mahomes has the chance to do something that we have never seen in NFL history, let alone college football history. He's got the chance to win 3 straight championships. I'm going to give y'all a history lesson. Tom Brady didn't win 3 straight championships. Terry Bradshaw did not win 3 straight championships. Bart Starr, Green Bay Packers quarterback from the 1950s and 60s, did not have a chance at winning 3 straight Super Bowls. He only won the first 2 Super Bowls, and then that third year, when they had a chance to repeat, he didn't make it to the playoffs. So now, when we get to the Kansas City Chiefs, if Patrick Mahomes wins this AFC Championship game and goes on to win the Super Bowl, dare I say, but do we have to change our rankings when it comes to quarterbacks in the NFL? Now, credit. Tom Brady is the pinnacle. He got 7 championships. If Patrick Mahomes somehow, this'll be his 4th championship. Four championships in 6 years is unheard of nowadays. The only time you heard that was when the Pittsburgh Steelers did it with that steel curtain back in the 70s, and we are a long way from the 70s now. This is the modern NFL. There's so much parity. There's so much momentum with these other teams in the NFL trying to build a team to beat the Kansas City Chiefs. But I'm going to tell you, for over the last 7 years, all 31 teams have had a chance to knock off the Kansas City Chiefs. And let me tell you, that they failed in that opportunity. I can tell you, I'm going to go right to their division foes. The Raiders, they've had a chance. The Chargers, they've had a chance. The Broncos, they've been in the basement. Before this season, they was in the basement. And let me tell you, I keep on hearing people say that all of these games are rigged and stuff. Let me tell you, only people that say that the game is rigged is if the bettors done lost a bet. That's the only thing that I see. You are watching America, world, wherever you may be listening right now. When it comes to the Kansas City Chiefs, you are watching greatness. And I'm going to tell you, people don't like people who are better than them at a certain thing in life, no matter whether it is, whether you're a good businessman or you are a good quarterback. People are tired of seeing the same person stay on top. But let me tell you, when do you get past the dislike and animosity of seeing somebody successful year after year after year? This is why I say you cannot dispute greatness. And that is what Patrick Mahomes has been giving you ever since he set foot in the NFL. He has been giving you greatness. And what he is on, the type of run he is on, it is astronomical. You are not going to see another run like this ever. But let me tell you, all you NFL fans out there, Just because somebody knocks off Patrick Mahomes, look, if the Buffalo Bills knock off Patrick Mahomes, that don't mean he going away. I can remember Tom Brady. Somebody knocked Tom Brady off. It was I'm gonna give y'all this. 2005. He was trying to go back to. He was trying to win his third championship. And let me tell you, the Pittsburgh Steelers knocked the New England Patriots off. And for 10 straight years, and for 10 straight years, Tom Brady didn't get to a Super Bowl. Didn't get it. He got to the AFC Championship game 8 of those years, but couldn't win the Super Bowl. So just because the Buffalo Bills might have a chance at knocking off the Kansas City Chiefs and Patrick Mahomes doesn't mean that Patrick Mahomes' reign is going to end. Now, all of the historical factors that I've given you, you can take it as you wish, but Kansas City Chiefs, I got a tough time picking against them. And I got a tough time picking against them. And let me tell you, I'm going to tell you that now this is the last historical stat I'm going to throw at you, and then I'm going to give my prediction to this game. The last three-peat, all you sports fans out there and whoever follows sports, whoever. The last three-peat that anybody witnessed was the Los Angeles Lakers from 2000 to 2002. It has been over 20 years since we saw a repeat champion in the NFL. New England Patriots, 03 to 04. We got our first repeat champion last year, Kansas City Chiefs, 22 and 23. This year, we might have a chance to see our first ever three-peat in NFL history. And I think that we are going to see our first three-peat in NFL history. Now, the last question that somebody has asked me, do the Kansas City Chiefs have weaknesses? Now, that's a tough question there, because I mean, we've seen Kansas City at their worst and they play good. We've seen the Chiefs at their best and they can play well. And we saw the Chiefs the middle part of the season not play their best at all, but still be able to win. I keep on hearing people say that it's gonna take Josh Allen to have a good game in order to beat the Chiefs. I believe so. He cannot turn the ball over in this game. Patrick Mahomes cannot turn the ball over in this game. Penalties, and lack of being able to convert on third down will be the determining factor in this game. So as for my prediction, I have the Kansas City Chiefs going to the French Quarter, New Orleans, and playing in the Super Bowl. So, Buffalo Bills, Sean McDermott, Josh Allen, even though that you have built a team to beat the Kansas City Chiefs, I just don't see it. Somebody gonna have to prove to me that they can beat Patrick Mahomes before I even give a prediction and say, oh yeah, somebody gonna beat Kansas City. I don't see it. I could be wrong, but I just don't see the Buffalo Bills somehow going into Arrowhead Stadium and beating the Kansas City Chiefs and getting the Lamar Hunt Trophy named after the owner of the team that created the AFC. Lamar Hunt, Lamar Hunt, the dad of the Kansas City Chiefs, who passed away a few years ago, he is the one that created the AFC. It was originally called the AFL before the AFL and NFL merged. Lamar Hunt was the commissioner of the AFL. And all across the country, I've been hearing that. I just don't think that the Buffalo Bills will go into Kansas City, and I mean, take the trophy that's named after their beloved owner and go to the Super Bowl. I just don't see that. So I have the Kansas City Chiefs winning the AFC Championship game by also a touchdown. I think that Patrick Mahomes is going to have a good game. Xavier Worthy is going to have a good game. I didn't even mention Marquise Hollywood Brown. He is another X factor that I have penciled in for this AFC Championship game this weekend. So I have the Kansas City Chiefs winning this game by 7 points, a touchdown, and with that, that is my outlook for the NFC Championship game, the AFC Championship game. Please like, comment, share, subscribe, click the notification bell to get notified of all of my reaction videos, shows, and other content. Please like, share, and follow Key City Sports on Instagram. On Instagram, we are on Instagram now. And remember, one last thing, the key is always on time.